Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rovers Chat. Obviously, this is a emergency chat, and I'm just going to check if I am live currently because obviously I need to figure this out, and I am. I'm just going to also just wait for people to filter in and come into this chat because obviously the ongoings of the last couple of days has been quite starking, quite eye-opening, and quite I mean, it's just disappointing, isn't it, at the end of the day? I think that I'll just let people filter in as we speak. But if anybody wants to speak in the chat, speak about um, the last couple of days, the ongoings of the this circus, the merry-go-round of Blackburn Rovers. I've never known a side to be on the 2nd or 3rd of February and still be in the January transfer window, to be honest with you. But I will say this very early on. If anybody wants to come and speak on this correctly and anybody who wants to speak their views on this, then they can do. And it's just above me right here, Rovers Chat _. But it's also, I've got my sorry, I've got my overlay that's got the podcast that I'm in. Sorry. If anybody wants to DM me personally, Dom _Medicroft, or Rovers Chat _, then they are more than I'm more than happy to get you on this call right now, and we can speak about this this joke of the situation. Quite frankly, Gary says it's a joke. Obviously, Rovers JG says hi all. Obviously, this is just an emergency chat. We're going to be speaking for about half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. It's a shambles of a club at the minute, and I will speak about it personally because obviously there's 22. I will be discussing the club statement as well as what happened on Tuesday because, quite frankly, we all thought it was going to happen and it didn't, did it? And I think that, yeah, we're all in a state of shock, and we're all in a state of, well, not maybe shock, but just more like, oh, come on, let's just. I thought we were past this, to be honest with you. I thought that we were beyond this sort of state of, it's like who's to blame? I don't know. There seems to be this is a I almost chucked in the towel, if I'm honest. Had to say yes, absolutely. Like I say, for the 22 of you who are listening right now, if you have any statements or anything to say, please let me know. I'm not. I think my camera is flipped right now, so either one of those is my Don Medicroft, is my Twitter. So if you want to DM me or DM the one above me, Rovers Chat _, and if you want to give your views on this, then we will get you on this call right now, and you can give your views on it, and obviously you can spout out what you want to say within reason, obviously, because it's on YouTube and it's on Twitter. What's going on the chat? Sorry, I've just clicked something random there. What has happened? Sorry, busy, not up to date. I think what has happened, to be honest with you, like we all say, is that if you haven't, I feel like if you're a Rovers fan and sorry, what's it? Killer River. Sorry, Killer River. I feel like you're living under a rock if you're not on Twitter right now. I think that, yes, exactly. Caden McKenzie. This is about Lewis O'Brien. Yes, I believe that it isn't going to happen after countless hours of saying it was going to happen. Countless, we spent the whole of the 4 hours I was on on this channel saying that it was going to happen. It was going to happen. Apparently, it never happened, and I will be discussing this club statement in a second from Rovers, and also about what was the goings on, who was at fault potentially. I think that it's somebody needs to be reviewed in this terms, because it should have been an easy situation right now. And yeah. So we've been 5 minutes. Let's have a look. I feel like I just waffled. I can't tell how pissed off I am at all this. Wasn't GB brought in to bring experience, disgrace all round? I don't know if it's Greg Broughton's fault, to be honest with you, and I will discuss that in a second. I think it is somebody else's, to be honest with you, from what I've found out. Adam Davies says, "I can't believe we did not get him. It's upsetting. That's the biggest thing, isn't it? I think it's just more. It's just so disappointing. It's so we got the. I'll bring my my chair up. It's so disappointing. It's so annoying. It's so. It's just so Blackburn, isn't it, to be like this? We're nearly getting on to the 3rd of February, and we still. It's not just the Lewis O'Brien thing. It's the Ethan Brierley as well, a youngster that's playing for Rochdale currently, and it's so. It's just disheartening. It's very abject. It's very. Oh God! It's just like, again. Why? There's a lot of people in the chat. I do apologise if I can't get to you. But what I will do right now. Sorry, Chris Mitchell said. Sorry. Robert has said, have Rovers not got good grounds to appeal? Apparently, it was Blackburn's fault in the first place. We'll discuss this statement in a second. Like I say, there is a lot of people in the chat that's going through this. Venky's out. It's not Venky's fault, to be honest with you. Obviously, let's be honest, it's not their fault. But I will discuss this right now. So if we go onto the screen, okay. Hope everybody can see it. The club would like to update our supporters on the situation concerning trying to bring in 2 players prior to the 11 p.m. transfer deadline on Tuesday, the transfer deadline day. One of the deals was very ambitious target, and it was confirmed that he was able to join us late Tuesday afternoon due to the complex nature of the various agreements to be included within the overall registration. Legal advisors were brought in to assist in the part of the process. Despite the club's best endeavours to complete the required elements of this loan transfer, due to events we believe to be outside of our control, the deadline for submission was late, and despite the club stating the mitigating reasons for the delayed submission, our application today was rejected. I mean, you've just basically okay. Our application for the second deal for the permanent transfer of a young promising player, which is Ethan Brierley from Rochdale, was also delayed due to unsigned paperwork, a technical issue encountered by the club at the point of the submission. Once again, the EFL has not accepted these, and they're going to go and if it go down a bit more, they're going to go and submit again. To be honest with you, this whole statement really suggests that there's no accountability of Blackburn saying that it is their own fault. They're pointing fingers at other places, pointing at fingers at other people. Let's have a look at the chat. Very poor stuff. How can you send off the documents 7 seconds apparently late? I've heard that as well. Rovers report. It is Rovers report. I did see that as well. I believe this is yeah. Hello. Yeah, I believe it was apparently 7 seconds late. But at the end of the day, 7 seconds. You've had 31 days before then. It's not your. Let's be honest. It's so stupid. It's so naive. It's so careless. And you're showing no accountability for your own ongoings and outdoings. You think you're pointing the finger at other people, but I mean, wouldn't blame JDT if he walked. I've seen this a couple of times, and I've seen this a few times on Twitter, and I mean, yeah, I get that point, and ultimately, if he does go at the end of the season, if he walks, yeah, can't be blamed because he hasn't been backed really. I mean, to be honest with you, in the summer it was. Sammy Smoddock's 2.5 million. You know, we are spending millions of pounds, but in this transfer window, just to bring in Torber Thomas, and nobody else, no centre midfielder, no striker that we needed. Apparently, we're coming in for a striker on a free, which is insane. I will do another quick read as well while we're going on with this. This is from the Rovers latest, which is from Alan Nixon, a very reputable journalist. He said that leading officials, I mean, you can read it yourself, leading officials Steve Waggett and Sunhal Pasha were at the FA Cup tie in Birmingham, while the potential 10 million move for O'Brien was going through in Lancashire. Secretary Ian Sylvester, there we go, was left to send across the relevant forms. So no mention of JDT, no mention of Greg Broughton, by the way. So I think Greg Broughton's the person to suggest to people, and then obviously the financial reasoning is down to the people that were said in that quote. Obviously, you can see it from different points of view, can't you? You can see it from the Nottingham Forest point of view. They just want to get rid of him. Like Philip says, it looks like Sylvester's fault, but GB is in the big seat recruitment-wise. Book stops with him and Waggett. Yeah, I mean, yeah, ultimately, maybe I'm being a bit nice to Broughton. Daniel Stewart said, Broughton and Waggett out. I just hate how much the club don't care about the fans at the minute. No wonder people don't turn up. It took a while, didn't it, for people to basically tell us what was going on. I think legally they couldn't mention anything just yet. Adam Rona says Sky Sports said there's still hope to get still chance to get him. This was after the statement earlier. I'm still hanging on with hope. Like I say, the statement earlier by Sky was basically saying that O'Brien wasn't part of the 25-man squad, as well as Steve Cook. This is another debate, by the way. Steve Cook wanted to stay at Nottingham Forest, didn't want to go anywhere, and he's not part of the 25-man squad. So I don't know about anything about that. But O'Brien wasn't part of the 25-man squad, and now he's in limbo. He's basically resigned to the fact that he's going to be sat at home or in the reserves, or I don't know who he can even play for or play for Rovers. So hopefully this next appeal, so clutching at straws, aren't we? Basically. Let's have a look at the chat again. I feel sorry for O'Brien. I feel sorry for Ethan Brierley as well. Let's not forget about him. He's a player that shined last season for Rochdale, an up-and-coming player, a youth player that came through the system for a team that is, let's not forget, bottom of League Two, and he has been told that you're signing for a team sixth in league, in the Championship, and this could all be wiped away. This could all be gone, vanished in a moment, and in 6 months' time, who knows? You could get an injury. You could get something that happens to you majorly. You could be out of favour. The sliding doors moment is right now for him, and it's out of his control. I do feel sorry for him. You can't blame Forest for this. Nobody can. It's just this is why this emergency talk is happening, because, well, emergency talk, it's just like a thing. But if anybody wants to come in and talk about this, by the way, obviously give you reasonable views, then DM the Rovers Chat _ or my personal one, which is Dom_Meadowcroft, and I will send you the link to this call, and you can say your views on it. a lot of people in this chat. I do apologise. There's a lot more than there was. I spent 4 hours, by the way, speaking about how O'Brien was. If you weren't part of the transfer deadline day live stream, I spent 4 hours speaking about how O'Brien was signing. He was the best centre mid in the Championship 2 seasons ago. Chris Mitchell, how can we allow this to happen? Miss out on a really good player, and we are sat in the top 6. No striker 2. I'm a Shrish. Absolutely. It makes the club look like a laughing stock, and we don't want that. Yeah, it potentially makes other clubs avoid us. It isn't a good look for us. That's right. You think twice about doing the business with it. Yeah, this is, yeah. I only reiterate your point. On TalkSport yesterday, Adriano said that Chelsea was given an extra hour to sort out the deal for Enzo because it was far down the line. What equates to being far down the line to getting a deal done down? To be honest with you, in terms of Chelsea, that's a different point of view. If you want to check out how I speak about Chelsea, you can check my personal YouTube out, which is Dom Medicroft. It's my own name. I do speak about Chelsea. I spoke about every single side's transfer deadline day. If you want to speak about Chelsea, FFP, the joke about that. It seems like they waited too long on these deals done, but there wasn't really good reason to leave it too late. Again, it's all about how poor Silvestre was in that moment. Have I got any DMs? No, I haven't. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Whereas fingers do point at Steve Waggett, but you do have to think to yourself, surely Broughton has a big deal to do with this too. Yeah, I think that ultimately we're just pointing blames at people, and there's got to be somebody involved in this that didn't do the right job. And if Broughton and Waggett are the two people at the top, then it has to point at them, doesn't it? Why not go for Sergi Canos? Yeah, I believe he went on loan, didn't he? Let me know who he went on loan for. I've forgotten off the top of my head. We need to see what happens with this appeal. Could the EFL have to take into players' careers too? Yeah, exactly. Like I say, like we've got to think about the players that are involved in this. You can't deny that it, not in terms of just physically, emotionally, but mentally, psychologically, it could affect this player for the rest of their life. Spend 6 months out and you lose your spark, you lose your edge, you lose your form, and it could potentially knock your career for the rest of your life. It is something that's very, very crucial. But also, you got to think of the flip side. If Blackburn were too late for this, if Lewis O'Brien scores the winner in the playoff final, then there'll be fingers pointed at the EFL for allowing this transfer to go through at the last stage, won't they? Or for too late. It's almost like the EFL are allowing us to make this deal and not other teams. They've got to stick to this strict policy, which has been a policy for 20 years. Let's not forget. We were careless in our transfer dealings. We were careless in our dealings with the players that we signed today. Ethan Brierley, by the way, is a player from Rochdale. Surely he wasn't a player like Lewis O'Brien who was linked with the other teams. Surely he could have been solved earlier in the transfer window. That is, it's just stupid. Amateurs, the bunch of the exactly. What was this always the plan? O'Brien to make it look like an ambitious move when it really was all smoke and mirrors. I believe that a medical was done. I believe that that everything was done apart from this elusive paperwork that wasn't apparently signed. The Rochdale one was, in fact, can anyone remember this happening to another club? I believe it has. I remember a couple of years ago this happened to West Brom. In fact, Grotsky is his name. Where is he from? Is he from Hull, I think, or did he go to Hull? Grotsky happened anyway. And it happened, and it took 2 or 3 days, and then eventually it wasn't allowed. If anyone can elaborate on that, please let me know, because I cannot remember. But Kamil Grotsky, if that remembers the name, it equates to Chelsea having a lot of money. I'm guessing that's from this call as well. I don't think Markande should have been sent out anyway. We don't have enough strikers coming. Markande is not a striker, to be honest with you, and also we brought in Sober Thomas, so that one made sense. It's just the fact that we didn't get a centre mid, didn't get a striker. Markande is not a striker, so get him out alone, get him the time that he needs. But that's not about this. Let me think. Yeah, Grotsky was the striker from Hull. Yes. Yeah, we'll be on the call for another 10 minutes or so. If any rules are rules, we'll be surprised if the decision reversed. Club massive failure on this one. Yeah, that is the main one, isn't it? There's no accountability. There's no acceptance of being in the wrong on this behalf, and I think that's it. It just looks weak on our behalf, doesn't it? If the club said that we were slightly behind on the goings on with the paperwork or something, or it was too late to decide something along them lines, then we can accept that. If you're going to be honest with it, it's absolutely fine. But I feel like this sort of half a lie, half a deceit, half of finger pointing at somebody else's fault, it just looks really poor. It looks really dishonest, and it's not a great look on the club, to be honest with you. Other clubs are looking at us right now, seeing this situation, and you know, why would they want to bring another player to us? Greg has let us down massively. Club bottled it with 10 million. If we get promoted, fee missed out on this opportunity this January. Yeah, we did. Absolutely. I think we completely missed out on this opportunity. Like I say, Lewis O'Brien, in the 4 hours that I spoke on the transfer deadline day, is a top centre mid for a championship club. He's definitely a Premier League signing as well. I think that we completely missed the ball. We completely dropped it as well. Sorry, dropped the ball on this regard. I said he was the best centre mid in last season for a Huddersfield side that, quite frankly, probably shouldn't have been there. Look at him this season. Listen, O'Brien is the best midfielder in the championship for a long while, but we are Rovers, Super Rovers from the north. We march on. We are the team back on form. Fifth round FA Cup disaster. I didn't get the last bit, but yeah, exactly. Let's just all meditate. Let's just all simmer down a little bit, okay? If we think about it, and let me get it up as well. We don't need to. We're sixth in the league. We've lost one of the last six, I believe. We're in the fifth round of the FA Cup. We are 2 rounds away from Wembley. let's not get carried away. But we are currently in a high position that anybody would have thought this season. JDT, I know he's been very poor in games, but we also are where we are, and the league doesn't lie. So let's just... It's an emergency chat. It's an emergency call. And I understand all your views. But let's see the flip side of it. People saying now, look, on the plus side, Sober Thomas looks a real player. We have Dak that's firing now. We're going to have we're going to have to pin our hopes on them because Beza stops scoring. And I didn't read the rest of that. Because Beza stops scoring and Galley always struggles for goals. Yeah, well, obviously, Galley is going to always struggle for goals. We know that. But the championship is wide open right now. And if we're going to not bring a striker, then why not have Brereton up front like last season? You know, it's just something that we could do. We've got the options there, don't we? We have the options there. And I think that, I don't know about anybody else, but I believe that we have the depth right now, currently, other than maybe a centre mid. I know that Lewis O'Brien would have been perfect for that role. But let's think of the worst case scenario on this behalf. Lewis O'Brien doesn't arrive at our club. We still are in 6th place. We still are relatively in form. The teams around us, I know they have a bigger squad than us. I know they have a bigger budget than us. It's clear to say. Look at Middlesbrough, maybe a West Brom. But they could easily drop out of form. It's the Championship. It's the unknown. We were second until about the 5th, 6th of Jan, weren't we, last season? Fell off a cliff. We're under a new regime. Hopefully, February won't happen. We all know about February. We're all worried about February. And I believe that, and I hope that, and I am optimistic that we can still be in this top 6. We've got to manifest it. We've got to believe. And to be honest with you, and I know it's a very, very bold, this is a very old take, but just because of this mishappenings with Greg Broughton or the backroom staff or anybody else, there's 11 people on that pitch on Monday that needs our backing, and it's not their fault. It's not the manager's fault. It's not the people on the bench's fault. It's not the coach's fault. It's not the players' fault. We need to back them, don't we? Essentially, and I think that we've got a youth system that's cracking. We've got a team that's very low in cost right now. We've got a team that's, look at 5 years ago. The team is completely different right now to back then, and I think that it's every single season it's on the up. Let's try and be positive about this. Let's not be negative. Let's not be trying to think about the bad news about O'Brien not coming. Let's not think about the bad news about Briley happening. Let's not think about the happenings after, outside of the team, outside of the coaches. I feel like I'm waffling. I do apologize if I am, but I need you lot to be as positive as I am being right now, and you need it's apart from the last maybe the League One season, the last 12 seasons has been very poor, very negative. We've got Wigan on Monday. The recruitment's been fine apart from this January window, hasn't it? The season has been good. JDT has been a decent manager apart from maybe like 2 or 3 games that have been abject, which I somehow seem to review every time. And I do apologise for me wittering on about nothing, I suppose. But I'm going to look at the chat right now. Let's have a look. Diaz is a striker. Play him in midfield. Thomas, Dolan, Hedges, Smodics on the wings. Exactly. That's the reason why we loaned out Markande. And look, next season Markande is going to be a shining star. We are probably 3-4 bodies short of a real Prem push, to be fair. I think most teams are. Let's be real. Norwich aren't great. West Brom are just in a purple patch. Maybe they are a good team. Middlesbrough in the same vein. They've dipped down a little bit recently. Look at Millwall and Luton are in the pack. We're better than those teams, aren't we? We've got to at least be on the same par. Get Leonard in the lineup. Potentially a little bit too soon for Leonard, to be honest with you. Diaz has played through the middle now with Thomas to provide crosses for Galley. As Galley isn't good. Yeah, exactly. We got Thomas there, and he's got 6 assists for Huddersfield this season. So it's just, come on. Was hoping O'Brien would signal the end of Travis. Hate my captain chewing gum and being a wind-up merchant after all these racist shouts against Brum. What? Oh, sorry. Diaz good at headers. Has he scored a header? Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry. What do we think the atmosphere will be like on Monday against Wigan? The issue is we're on Sky, aren't we? That's the issue, and I believe that Wigan aren't. Oh, it's Wigan, isn't it? Come on, it's Wigan. They're not going to bring many fans unless they've not got a big following. Is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to downplay Wigan, but the bottom of the league, they've lost the last 10 games, and they've not got a great following. So in terms of the atmosphere, I'm not going to say in terms of the game. it should be okay from the home fans, but maybe not from the away. And ultimately, the away fans do add to the atmosphere. The chat is getting a bit diluted at the minute, so if anybody wants to just phone in quickly, or just DM the Rovers Chat _ or my personal Dom _ Metacroft, then they can do. I will be on this for another 10 minutes, I think. Obviously not going to do 4 hours like I was going to do last week, or this week even. Let me just have a look here. If anybody hasn't already, please can you go subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate all the subscriptions that we get. I think one of the main problems is people is feeling lied to. Exactly what I said. I think the deceit and the dishonesty about this is exactly what I said. The club statement just finger points and blames other people, and I think let's carry on this. Having been told that JGB was going to focus on recruitment, and the recruitment has been beefed up, etc. It seems like a step back. If you look at the summer transfer, it was pretty perfect, weren't it, in terms of what we did, who we recruited, who we got on contracts. But this January, I do agree with that, absolutely. I personally thought we'd be a mid-table at best at this point. If JDT stays next season and is backed, we could do bits, glass half full. Exactly. We got to stay this. Okay. I think JDT will flog Diaz for the rest of the season and play him every minute. Yeah, you'd hope so. Plus, you worry that other players in future transfer windows will be put off knowing that we've handled this. Good job, footballers. Don't write reviews on Glassdoor. Exactly. I think that this ultimately creates a sort of stain on our behalf, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Can we take it as a positive that we attempted to sign these players? I still don't understand why they couldn't at least get the Bradley done. Yeah, the unknown is the worst part about this. The sort of the conjecture and the abject feeling that we've got right now about Blackburn on the backroom staff, not the backroom staff, the recruitment staff isn't fantastic. And I think that yeah, I can't believe that we didn't get the Bradley one done, to be honest with you. That seems so easy to get done, and it wasn't. Vale has to have more playing time and has to run games. Yes, he's still out on the jury a little bit personally, but I believe that there is something there, isn't there? There definitely is. Wigan got that new manager bounce. I suppose it's always the worry he said about Colatori. But who's your favourite player? Quite vague. Player is in Blackburn right now, or player is in ever, or player in general? Let me know. To be honest with you, sorry for not answering. Any free transfers that we can sign? I think there's Graben. I think there's Chris Martin. I'm just thinking of strikers. I don't think there's much, but why you wouldn't want either of those? Maybe. Jack says, "Why get out?" Yeah, I don't. If you believe that, then you can do. I don't really know who is the fault about this, but Waggett and, like we say, Greg Borton has to be part of it. I'll stay on for another 5 minutes, guys. So just leave your comments below on any questions as well. Positive what our youth and under 21s and I'm guessing under 21s beating Celtic and have some players in the first team already. Exactly, like I say, like the rant I did, the sort of not a rant, the sort of conjecture, the speech I did essentially that I said about Blackburn. We have an under 21s, we have an under 18s, we have an under 16s, 15s, 14s that are probably going to be in this squad at some point, probably going to be exceeding this squad at some point. But it's just disappointing for the the now and then, isn't it, rather than the future. But I do believe that we do have a unbelievable under 21s, under 18s that we can again build on, that we have done in our captain is from the under 21s. We've had our former captain was from the under 21s. You know, it's just, I think JDT and Greg will be honest to the media and give a couple of whack. Yes, I hope so. I believe. Well, JDT is quite honest, isn't he? That's probably his greatest attribute, and he's probably his weakest flaw, isn't it? Is being too honest. The Porteous signing or attempt at signing probably was good to hear from him, and also frustrating to hear at the same time. So I do believe that's right. Do you think Ryan Giles may be a future signing, or could we get him back on loan? He's at Middlesbrough right now. No, he's not. He's at where is he? Yeah, Middlesbrough. Yes, he is at Middlesbrough. He's flying, so I don't believe he will unless it's next season. Vale needs more opportunities. There are something. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. What happened? I just joined. Sorry, by the way. Did we sign O'Brien? This whole thing has been about O'Brien. If you want to check it out, go from the start. I will be on this for another 4 or 5 minutes. Like I say, I will get to the 40-minute mark and then probably end it, because I think that's the bulk of the chat has calmed down. We've all had a bit of a therapy session, haven't we? And ultimately, this is what this is all about. Let's just all get together and think and hope and meditate and pray and believe and hope again that we've got this right and we've got something going on that's not so sinister behind the scenes. Ian Sylvester needs second tomorrow. If not, he should resign. Could be worth 200 million if you can't fill in paperwork and use a fax machine. You shouldn't be stealing a huge wage. Waggett is on 300k. I don't know the facts and figures behind that, but somebody needs to be at fault. Somebody needs to be at least reviewed about their pay and their job. Who is to blame in your opinion? I mean, like we've said throughout this chat, throughout this this call, I think that ultimately this comes down to the people up the top. It could be someone down at the bottom, and it filters up to the top because obviously they're it's going to be somebody's blame, but it's got to be the people at the top who we know right now are Steve Waggett, Greg Broughton. There's a secretary apparently called Ian Sylvester that we've got to blame. But the frustrating thing about Blackburn right now is they're blaming everybody else. They're not blaming themselves, and it sort of shows the ego of us, I suppose, maybe the improfessionality, if that's a word, unprofessional. I don't even know what the word is. It shows our it disconnects us. Ultimately this disconnects us, doesn't it, from the club a little bit. And something like this, when we hear stuff on Twitter and every reporter saying something and then the club saying something else, it just disconnects us slightly more, and we don't want that. We've had that in the past. We brought together and we got something close to us, and like John says, we're here together. And why we're hearing stuff like this when we're seeing other stuff like this from reputable reporters like Alan Nixon or other people like this. Jack says, I do hope the negativity towards the board, etc., doesn't spill over to JDT. Clearly not his responsibility. Cumbia and all that. Dom, peace, love, and yeah, exactly. at the end of that, it's all about love. It's all about peace, and like, come on. That's not why I said that, but you brought me on to this, Jack. But yeah, let's just hope this sort of disconnect between the board and the team isn't one, because we know where this goes. We know where this rabbit hole goes, and it just brings negativity, and it just brings it just brings us lower in the league, doesn't it, essentially? And we know where it goes. We've been there before, and we're not naive to that. I mean, we're going to put this F the club. Won't be going on Monday. I can't take another 13 years of this. I can't say that, since those useless. Oh, I definitely can't say that. Took over. Yeah. Sorry about that, Jack. Do apologise about that. It's like one step forward, two step back. So that's exactly the feeling I've got. No money, no talk. Exactly. And I think I've got all to say about this. I think that's all I've got to say. If anybody else wants to say anything in the chat, they can do for another minute. I will do another minute. But if you haven't already, can you go and I don't know, subscribe? I guess subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I guess I'll plug something. I guess I'll plug two things from my own thing. I guess, is that rude to do on this channel? I suppose it's not. Maybe. I hope we're all okay. Obviously, we will be. It's such a first world problem. Let's be honest with you. In the grand schemes of things in life, this is just something that happens in a football club. Yes, I will leave you all soon. If you haven't already, can you go and subscribe to the Rovers Chat channel? Also, can you go and subscribe to I'll plug it, my own personal channel, Dom Meadowcroft. It's on YouTube right now. It's my own name. It's one of the corners. I do a podcast as well with my mate. We talk absolute waffle. I also had, if you haven't already, if you don't know about TikTok, I had Pete BOC on my latest podcast, which is on the Talk Nonsense pod. I don't know which one it will be. But thank you all for joining me on this live. Thank you for joining me on this Twitter. I don't know where you're viewing it, to be honest with you. This has just been a very impromptu chat. If you haven't, my notes are forwards, and I've made 42 minutes out of it. I like these, I do enjoy these lives. I think I'll be on Monday as well. Let's just a little sneak peek for you 26 people are viewing. I will be on Monday, if it all goes fine, for the Wigan game, for a live stream, for a watch along as well, a proper one. Jack, quickly one, Jack has apologised. Thank you, Jack, for apologising. We obviously cannot say them words on YouTube. But yes, I hope you all sleep well. Hope you all sleep nice and peacefully. Let's be real. We're living, aren't we? We're breathing, we're blinking, we're experiencing, and it's just another day as a Blackburn fan, isn't it? So if you haven't, I will see you all very, very soon. Cheers, guys.